So, I have a tremendous amount of information to share with you today. One of the things I always like to do is to make sure that you can follow along with the slides and all the links. And so if you go to this URL, bit.ly/7bigseo, no capital letters, all lowercase. Bit.ly is case sensitive, so just 7bigseo. I also tweeted it with the CM World hashtag, so you can follow in there if you want. Okay. Let's dive in. Let's see what Google's up to. And all the other search engines too. So, yes, maybe. All right. So we'll count down. We'll do it Letterman style. Google is still growing. Google's still growing, despite what you might hear about how Facebook dominates everything. But others are too. So this is data from SimilarWeb, sort of showing they have a 30 million person panel here in the US that about 30 million that measures clickstream. So they see where everyone goes in their browsers. And you can see these are the referring sources of traffic to websites. Kind of universal, right? Universal referring sources. And so if you take all the websites on the internet that, that anyone in the US clicks on, this is where it comes from. I will point out one thing, which is, see that direct bucket and how big it is, 43%? My opinion is that that is also representing some social traffic and some referral traffic that's essentially what we call dark traffic, right? Dark social, dark referrals. They don't pass a referrer string for some reason or another. Like if you're in the Facebook app on an Apple device that is not the latest version of the Facebook app, sometimes when you click a link, it will show with no referrer string and hence will get counted as direct traffic when in fact it came from Facebook. So just to be clear. But you can see how big search is. Search, massive, like many, many times the size of Facebook. And almost all of that is Google. This is from StatCounter, and you can see up there Google in the United States, well, North America, so US, Canada, Mexico, 86% of all search traffic is Google. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, wait a minute, don't I see a bunch of reports from ComScore saying that Google is 65%? Yes, you do. Do you want to know the secret of why you hear that? Okay, thank you, Leslie. Yes, I appreciate that. So, okay, dirty secret. Congress investigates monopolies. Google desperately does not want to be a monopoly. So, if they can show that if they have a data source that says they're only 65% of the market and Bing and Yahoo are another 25, 35%, they are going to be thrilled about that. You know who else is thrilled about that? Microsoft. Super thrilled to show data that says they have 20 or 30% market share. Don't believe it. Not true. This is the real number. This number you should not believe. This is a big problem for marketers because we go into our clients and managers and teams and we say, oh, hey, how come we're only getting 10% of our traffic from Bing? Well, the answer is that's the right amount to be getting, right? That is not a, oh, wait, we're doing something wrong with Bing. You are not. All right. Facebook is on a tear. They absolutely are. They keep growing. And the only challenge with Facebook is while they're sending a good amount of traffic out, to be honest, Facebook has consolidated in such a way that they really want to keep you on Facebook.com or in the Facebook app, not send traffic out. So, you remember 2013 when there was reachpocalypse and everyone's average reach went from 20% down to 10%. Now it's like 1.5% average. Facebook wants to keep you on their site, not send you out. YouTube and Facebook are both growing video quite quickly, but I want to point out an important thing. Facebook counts a video view after 3 seconds. 3. YouTube counts a video view after 30 seconds. When you see a graph like this that compares the two side by side, it is completely unfair. If you don't scroll down fast enough in your Facebook feed and it auto plays for 3 seconds, that's a video view. My opinion, YouTube is actually tremendously bigger than Facebook when it comes to video consumption, at least real video consumption time for now. YouTube turns out second only to Google as the world's second largest search engine. Baidu is number 3, right, in China. Mostly because, have any of you been to China and tried to Google things? It's awesome. So this is a great way to grow market share. when you Google something in many parts of China, not all of China, Hong Kong being an exception, for example, you will get redirected to Baidu's results for that search query phrase. The government basically reroutes it at the ISP level so that they make sure that Baidu stays the top search engine. Pretty handy. I'm not sure if that's still going on, but it was for many, many years. Nice to have the Chinese government on your side. That's highly recommended if you're starting a search engine. DuckDuckGo out of Philadelphia, they have been growing like a weed too. In fact, they are probably the fastest growing search engine right now, growing 600–700% year over year, maybe more than that. Still very small, but growing a lot, I think mostly due to the Edward Snowden effect. Essentially, like privacy-concerned people use DuckDuckGo because otherwise all of your search history technically can be stored and traced and used. DuckDuckGo doesn't do any of that. Amazon. Amazon is a huge search engine, all commercial intent, which is why a lot of marketers in the e-commerce space love Amazon and are using it. So some recommendations here. I would say don't ignore a search channel just because it's not Google, right? If you're in e-commerce, you have to pay attention to Amazon. If you are creating video content or you see that lots of people are searching for the things that you want to do on YouTube and in Facebook, you should probably be creating content that works in those places too. One of the recommendations I've got is to see where your competitors are getting their traffic from, right? So if I log into SimilarWeb Pro, it is expensive. I think it's $300-ish a month, but maybe a friend has an account, and you can see in there, like this is, for example, warbyparker.com's traffic. So if I'm starting an eyeglasses shop, I might want to see like, oh wow, they are getting a lot of direct, a lot of Google search, Facebook, and then wow, Pinterest actually sends a solid amount of traffic to Warby Parker, which shouldn't be surprising, right? A lot of pictures of people on Pinterest is always weird to me because it's pictures of very, very skinny people with very, very fattening foods right next to them. It's kind of this like irony that I never quite caught about that. You can apply lots of different tactics to reach these different audiences. If, for example, you are interested in how Amazon does their rankings, I've got a link there to Amazon's ranking factors. And I would consider different content from multiple engines. One of the things we do at Moz, which has worked pretty well for us, is we take video content and publish it on our own website because we want to rank for it in Google, right? We don't want YouTube ranking for it, then we can't, capture all the leads and, do the retargeting and all the nice things that you can do on your own website. But we also want to rank for that content in YouTube. So we take a video that we've published on Moz, and 3 months later, we publish that same video on YouTube. Now you can find it in both platforms, but Moz is always the place that you go to get it first, right? And we start to train people that like, hey, if you want to get it 90 days before, you go to Moz.com. We use Wistia for hosting. I love them. They're fantastic. The embed code links back to you. It's a beautiful, beautiful system. Granted, Google's still the 800-pound gorilla here. That I don't think is going to change in the near future. Number 6, speaking of Google, they're trying to answer a lot of simple questions directly. And this has frustrated many, many publishers and SEOs, right? So here I am searching for, do I need polarized sunglasses, right? I heard from a friend that I thought that she said, oh, you bought these Ray-Bans, they're not polarized, you should throw them away, they're bad for your eyes. That is not apparently true. As you can see here, you only really need them around water or snow and ice. The great part for a consumer, right, for a searcher is I get my question answered without ever having to click. But if I'm davisvision.com, I am, right? Like, Google says you are not allowed to scrape other people's websites and then just show that content on your site. That is against the Google terms of service. They will boot you out of their index. Well, what the hell are you doing, Google? It is just straight up like, oh my God, you stole that from me and are publishing it and I don't even get the click. And I kind of have no choice. Well, it's also the case Google's minimized that desktop search experience to make it more adaptable to mobile. Desktop and mobile now very, very similar to each other. And they're putting more of these answers, in this case, this one's terrible, right? Silicon Valley VC firms, that list is incomplete, largely useless. Why did they only pick the G's? I don't know, maybe because they're Google. It's just, It's weird, right? Like you kind of go, why did it start to change? I don't know. This, you might think, removes the need to click on a third-party site, but actually, this is an example from Moz. Do you see that title tag, learn SEO? So they're scraping, well, they're crawling Moz, they're indexing our content. I'm totally going to fall off the stage. And yet, when we saw this, we figured, for sure, we're going to lose traffic from it. In fact, we gained traffic. This started sending us more referrals. More people actually clicked it. So yes, it's an instant answer. Yes, it looks like it would siphon traffic away. In fact, that was not the case. We got more traffic from this than we did just ranking number 1. So now we rank like number 1 and number 0. I guess technically we rank 0, 1, and 2, but that seems like bragging. Thank God we're good at SEO, right? It'd be really embarrassing if I was like, you should do this SEO stuff. And then you looked and were like, you also should do that, Rand. So here's one where this absolutely does draw traffic away, right? This is essentially these carousel type results, Seattle, Washington sites. Sorry, TripAdvisor, sorry, Seattle Times, sorry, CityPass. You're losing a tremendous amount of traffic to Google taking this away. We saw in our clickstream data something like half of the search volume was going to these carousel results from Google, which take you to a Google Maps page instead of the organic links. So some things we can do. First off, we've got to think about click-through rate when we're choosing our keywords. If you're doing your keyword targeting and all you look at is volume, you could be targeting a lot of keywords that look like this, right? That are driving traffic away, and that's probably not a smart keyword to go pay a bunch of attention to, right? The organic results on this page, because it's got the shopping results and then the thing up there, the image results, there's more stuff down below. It's likely that maybe 60% of the clicks go to the organic results here, whereas 40% are going somewhere else. We need to know that. Here, right, the classic, this is called like the 10 blue links Google, that's getting 100% of all the consumer clicks, the searcher clicks. That's great. This is like that classic, idealized version of what you want to target. But there's options, right? You can figure out this stuff by doing estimating yourself, right? Looking at the search result and saying this one's high, this one's low. Or you could use a tool that gives you click-through rate opportunity, right? That tries to estimate this for you. Moz has one. I suspect SEMrush, SEMrush, and Ahrefs will soon have tools that estimate click-through rate opportunity as well. Right now, I think this is the only one, but soon many other tools will have it, right? And so that way I can say nerd gifts, great, 100% opportunity, click-through rate opportunity. High-tech gadgets, probably only 60% of the searchers are clicking through there. It is possible to use SEO and get into these snippets. There's a whole presentation and blog post from Dr. Pete, who's done a ton of research at Moz about how to get in here, and getting into those answers can send a ton more traffic. So if you are interested in that, you can check out these 2 resources on how to get into the answer box results. A lot of that is how you structure the actual content, like how you write and where you place it on the page. It's sort of old school SEO, but it's also very, very helpful for searchers and to answer their queries. So big opportunity. Number 5, keyword data. Google, they're kind of a pain, right? Like they make changes and then they spin it like this is going to be a good thing, and you know it's a bad thing, right? Like, so okay. First off, this is Google AdWords Keyword Planner, right? And they give those average monthly searches. It sure is weird to me. Have you noticed how a ton of the search phrases you look for all have exactly the same volume? Like, wow, that's a lot of people who are searching for all these terms 12,100 times. That's exactly the number that is. It's because those are not real numbers. They're ranges, and unfortunately they're overlapping ranges, which is even more confusing. We did a bunch of research into this by bidding on a lot of terms and looking at a lot of PPC data and then seeing how many times are things actually searched for, what's the impression count versus what does AdWords say. Turns out these don't mean what you think they mean. I don't know why Google doesn't just give a range. Sometimes now they do, but those ranges are like massive and useless. But those volume ranges basically correspond to the numbers that you see in there. And so when you see them, you can interpret them in a certain way. If you want a little bit more accurate data, Google Trends is actually pretty solid in telling you what thing is more popular than what other thing. So when you see those overlapping ranges, this one, for example, Moscow Mule mugs versus copper mugs, you saw the numbers before where it said copper mugs is more popular, but in reality, Moscow Mule mugs is probably almost exactly or a little more popular, and that's handy. We also see that AdWords is now conflating related terms, right? So for example, you see these numbers here, like San Francisco flowers, 320. San Fran flowers, 320. San Fran flower, 320. San Francisco flower, 320. All those terms are essentially being combined by Google. They think those are all the same, or they're treating them all as the same search. They may not actually have the same intent, but unfortunately, AdWords is mashing them all together. And so we have to deal with that too. And then finally, keyword suggestions. A lot of the keyword suggestions, when you type things in here, fitness tracking tools. Come on, really, Google? There's no suggestions. You have no idea what you could possibly recommend to me. Are you serious? Because look, I type it into suggest, and it looks like you know about a bunch of searches that people really do around fitness tracking tools. Like, you're punking me. I know it. I can prove it. You are showing me yourself that you're punking. And if you type those in, as I have done here, to AdWords specifically, they all have search volume. So why in the world did you tell me you had no results for that query? That's insane. Very frustrating. So a lot of weird stuff around keyword data, and a few ways we can respond. First off, I would not use those volume numbers as absolutes. They are relative comparisons and ranges, right? So probably it's the case that champagne flutes is searched for more often than toasting flutes. Most of the time, that is going to be true. But those quantities are not right. Like, if you use them in your estimations, you will be off. Google Trends is great for this. So you can see champagne flutes, yes, really is indeed about 5 to 10 times the volume of toasting flutes. If you want some better data, there's a couple of sources. So this is Keyword Explorer. It is a Moz tool, I apologize, but that will give you some of those volume ranges. It uses a combination of AdWords and clickstream data to try and get at that. If you want the absolute best data, the best possible data, you have to know exactly how many searches happened in a month. You got to bid. You got to pay. You pay, and Google will show you the number of impressions that your particular campaign, your particular keyword got. That is the best way to get the accurate data. It's an expensive and frustratingly time-consuming way, but it's the real numbers. And then you could use this to try and estimate out what they mean in other sections. Also, we saw how Google keyword suggestions and keyword planner are crazy. You can't exclusively use those, right? So search suggest and related searches, totally free. They're right on Google's, in Google search or in the results. There's a bunch of good suggestions for you. There's also a bunch of other kinds. Search suggest, people also search for, which is sometimes right embedded in there. Similar pages rank for data, semantically connected terms, topically related searches. I like questions containing those keywords, and AdWords, commercial suggestions. I have a big list of tools that contain all of these sorts of things in there, and so you can check that out in the presentation. There's links to all of those different ones. A lot of people love Answer the Public, which is free and shows you questions. I loved keywordtool.io for a long time, and I built my own thing, Keyword Explorer, which I also like.